I'm Justin Snyder.
And I'm Stephanie Greenwood Snyder.
We're just an average, everyday couple.
But over the years, we've seen the incredible importance of building community together.
We'll be talking with friends and experts about their stories and experiences to help us learn and grow.
We don't want to just survive through life.
We want to intentionally thrive.
This is The Intentional Thriver. Welcome back to The Intentional Thriver.
Welcome.
We are so excited to have Josh and Litia on our show today. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, we're excited to be here.
Yay.
So, Josh, tell me this. What's it like being the grandson of Bobby Jones, the famous golfer?
It's a tough bill to live up to, I'll tell you that.
He's not related to
No.
people. He plays
Not
like it.
at all. Not at all.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I literally was like making myself tear up thinking about how much I appreciate you guys, how much you have welcomed us into your family, into your lives, into your community. We've known you. We just had our 1-year anniversary of knowing you guys the day after we moved here last May. And I just cannot believe it's only been a year because you guys have welcomed us in with open arms. And you're just so natural at making people feel so welcomed and loved and cared for. And so thank you guys so much.
Well, it's an honor and a joy for us too.
Can you talk a little bit about your backgrounds and where you guys have come from, and just share a little bit about your stories?
Born and raised in Georgia. There's not many that you can claim that often. So I'm excited to say that I am born and raised in Georgia. My sister also born and raised in Georgia, lives in Georgia. Very blessed to be Southside local pretty much my entire life. I did move when we got married, moved a little bit to Atlanta. So not Southside, but you go where your wife wants you to go. So you go.
Sure.
Anyway, but went to school on the South Side of Atlanta, went to college on the South Side of Atlanta, and then started working at a company called Chick-fil-A. And at a restaurant called Truett's Grill in McDonough, Georgia. Started in 2003, so I just hit my 20 years at Chick-fil-A total with restaurant time, which is awesome.
That's wild.
It's an awesome journey. I worked 8 years in the restaurant, worked all the way up to assistant manager, and then in 2010, 2011, I started getting an opportunity to train at the support center. Now, it used to be called the home office, now called the support center. We support restaurants. And I do, I was in training for 8 years where Litia and I got to meet. We met in 2011, started dating in 2011, and got married in 2013. I work in the formerly known as an IT department. We are called Digital Transformation and Technology, and I help restaurants maximize their technology. So I get to go and travel quite a bit. And as y'all know, I'm miss some small groups here and there, but I get to be around. So
I was born in the Fiji Islands. My name, Litia, is Fijian. I mean, Lydia in English. I lived in Fiji for 6 months, and my parents moved back to the States after that. So fast forward, live in D.C., Georgia. When I was 11, we decided as a family together to move on board a ship. And we spent 2 years living on board a ship with 215 other people from 45 different countries. And every 2 to 3 weeks, we would travel to a new port and do various types of ministry there, depending on what the needs were. So aid and relief projects, literacy projects, working with children and women, and doing sports camps, all kinds of different things. I learned to be a clown, which was pretty fun. And
I did not know
so
that. Wow.
yes, you did.
I had like a whole...
She still acts it too.
I-
It's perfect.
I was about to say, like, if we could get maybe a demonstration at the end, that
You don't
would
need it.
be-
Yeah, this was a family activity. Each 4 of us had a specific clown persona and like character, name, outfit, whole deal. Anyway, that was to entertain children while they had waiting in long lines to come on board the ship for tours and stuff. But in the 2 years that we were on the ship, we went to 29 different countries.
Wow.
So,
So cool.
yeah, really shaped my worldview. We were all through South America, took a 10-day voyage across the equator to West Africa, 6 months in West Africa. And then we went all through the Mediterranean, Italy, Albania, Croatia, Turkey, on back to some other parts of Europe. And at the end of those 2 years, we then moved to northern Italy, where we lived for 4 years in a town nestled in the Alps, 3,000 people, tiny little town. And my dad pastored a small local church there. So at that time, I was a missionary kid and a pastor's kid all at one time. So I was 13 when I moved to Italy, went into 7th grade, not speaking a word of Italian beyond pizza and
That's it.
ciao. That's about it.
Ciao.
Spaghetti.
There you go.
Yeah. So that was intense. I mean,
I bet.
sitting in the back of a classroom, not understanding anything. But when you're fully immersed and you're young, you learn really quickly. So within a matter of months, I was already trying to communicate and speak with people, and then my language skills just took off from there. But during those 4 years, so we lived there until I was 17, and that was just an incredible transformational season of life. But watching, learning about the Italian culture, not just learning about it, but being embedded in it. My parents really set a model for us to like try as best we could to enculturate, was the term we used. Like, we want to try and fit into this culture as best we can and be a light in our community. So things like we didn't have a dryer because nobody in our area or community had a dryer. We would hang all of our clothes up on lines, classic Italian scenery, right? And like all the laundry lines, the clothes hanging. Yeah, we did life the Italian way as best we could during those years, which was really special. When I was 17, we moved back to the States. And at that point, we had bought a dog in Italy when we were there. And most Italian families have little dogs and they take them everywhere they go, like into all the shops and everything. So we walked right into Chick-fil-A up to the front counter with our tiny dog, which of course is a health code violation we weren't aware of. So they promptly sent us out of the restaurant. And so we started this routine of coming to Chick-fil-A, sitting outside, and they would bring us our food so we could be outside with our dog. We met the owner operator who started asking me to work for him, and I had no interest in working in a fast food restaurant. But there were some other kids, the very few kids that I knew started working there, so I decided to give it a try. And I fell in love with Chick-fil-A, and specifically training new team members, helping them learn how to serve customers and how to get good at it. Seeing them be successful just brought me so much joy. I left Chick-fil-A. I was a college student, and I spent a year on staff with Young Life, leading their ministry out of middle school. It was an incredible experience. But then I was recruited to come work at the Chick-fil-A Support Center just for one summer in the training department. And I really had in mind that I would be going into the nonprofit world. My major was public policy with a concentration in nonprofit leadership. So I was headed down this path, but I needed a new job. And so I was like, great, I'll take this part-time job. Well, during that time, that summer, I fell in love with Chick-fil-A all over again, and seeing the big picture and seeing how the Kathy family led this business that was not a Christian business, not full of believers, but they led it with biblical principles and values. And there was a real mission and a calling to serve people, serve our customers. From the support center side, serve the owner operators of our restaurants and their teams. And I just, I also fell more in love with training and learning and development. And so I knew this was something that God was really leading me towards. So anyway, to make the long story short, at the end of that summer, I was asked to continue on, and was part-time for a few years. And then after I graduated college, I started working full-time. And that's when Josh and I met. Yeah, so I was in the learning and development space the whole time. trainer, facilitator, leading programs, designing and developing programs. And then I'm now changed roles and leading a team in our contact center, which is really a whole different level of hospitality, but is providing support to any urgent matters that come up for our restaurant and our customers. And so my team trains and equips the agents to do the work that they do.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And we have 2 kids. Like,
We didn't even talk about that.
Or about our background beyond work. But we have 2 kids, Callie, who's 4, and Harvey's, who's 2. And they refer to Alexandria and Brennan as their best friends.
So special.
Yep.
And
it's really sweet. And yeah, and we're very fortunate to have our extended families nearby.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially for me, growing up internationally and not having that is such a blessing.
Sure.
To be close to family. But
absolutely.
yeah, but it's been cool how a Georgia boy and international girl came together, and now we love. I mean,
She didn't speak English, so I was good.
Except she did.
no, we found a
Right.
love for, like, I called Georgia home finally, and
Aw, sweet deal.
he loves traveling internationally
Yep.
with me and exploring new cultures and trying new food.
I love hearing your stories, and hospitality is so important through it all.
Yeah.
And especially you guys being in the industry, in the hospitality industry for so long. What does hospitality mean to you guys?
Right.
To me, hospitality is all about showing care to someone and doing what you can to meet the needs that they have, whether they're physical, emotional, but thinking, okay, what resources and abilities do I have to welcome this person in, to care for them using the means available to me. So I think we do hospitality in, like, every aspect of our life. Like, obviously our careers are in the hospitality space, and our business is all about delivering the best hospitality we can deliver, but we also do that to our teammates and the people that we serve, like trying to serve them, do the best that we can for them.
Yeah.
We do it in our home. It's one of the things that we love to do together is host people.
She's really good at the talking part. I'm really good at the
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
and
It's true. You
really
guys
just
are a good team. Usually
the
within
rest
a
of it.
couple,
We have a bit of
like,
Martha and Mary.
yeah,
It's like,
sure.
like our
Sure.
tendencies, it's not just about talking and engaging with people, but it's also about their physical needs. And so
food is a
I
good
did
physical
that,
need
Josh,
most of the time. Eating.
people in my house would never have anything to drink or sit down or hang their coats anywhere. But, like, I think Josh has, like, the true gift for hospitality.
I'd say
And has, like,
service, like serving others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
has a mind for it. And so he's thinking through all the logistics and the practical things. And together over the years, we'll hit our 10th anniversary in September.
Wow.
Congrats.
Over the years, we've brought each other into more balance, more attentive to people's physical needs while, like, talking and engaging with them. And I think you do both as well. And
You've gotten better at it.
we make a good.
That's true. I don't talk to people still. No,
Sure you do.
occasionally.
I
It's
I
like
would say you do.
once in a while question. And I'm just more
Also
focused
to
on food.
church.
But yeah, and I would say, so Litia talked about, like, emotional, physical needs. I think mine is more of, like, I just want to, whatever, when you walk in that door, just want you to be happy and enjoy the time you're here. So there's nothing you should have to worry about doing unless I need help, like in that side of it. Y'all are always willing to jump in, but, like, I just want you to feel like you don't have to do anything because you're not at your house. You're not doing things that make, like, a busy life, especially 2 little kids like us, like, we understand it. And so when you walk in the door, we want to be able to just, let you breathe for a minute if you can.
Yeah.
Send the kids off to the playroom, and
Yeah.
we'll just hang out and talk, and I have all the food going, and all you got to do is just talk and eat.
Yeah.
You know, like, so
That is so cool. I think you guys, like you guys were saying, have such a good balance, because oftentimes within hospitality, within couples, there's usually like one spouse that is like, I really want to do hospitality, I'm really hospitable, and the other one's like, yeah, okay, like you kind of do your thing, I'll kind of support you in that, but not necessarily as actively involved. And I
Right.
feel like both of you, in different ways, but still both of you have like a very strong gifting
Mhm.
in hospitality and are very
Yeah.
mindful of that,
Yeah.
which is so cool, especially since you guys work in a hospitality
Yeah.
field. Like,
It's unreal.
for so many
Like, we
people
can't
would
help
probably be
ourselves.
like burned out. I don't want to like
done.
serve anyone
Mm-mm.
after I've done my job. I think that's a really
and there
cool
are
thing that you guys
seasons,
have
right?
that.
Yeah, and we love it. There's seasons of that, like ebb and flow.
Sure.
But for us, so we've done a few moves. We've had 5 houses in 10 years, which is pretty crazy in a sense.
Yeah.
And you know, like our first house, which was my house, had a few different things, but Litia only lived there for a week until we were building another house at the same time. And then we were able to host people in our house. So we're like, oh, we can actually do that. And so in our mind, we wanted to be that throughout the time. Moved to Atlanta after that. Didn't have as much community, but we did start building some. Didn't host as much, didn't do our thing like we wanted to do as much as possible. And then fast forward, we get pregnant, we moved down to Trulith on the south side of town, and the house was nowhere near the size of what we could do for hosting. So if we did used to do Friendsgiving, and our Friendsgiving was hosted in Trulith, but not at our house because we couldn't host people that way.
Oh, okay.
And so once we moved to this house here in Peachtree City, it just made it just 10 times better, just to be able to host and actually do our thing and be cordial and really get back to, I would say, the word for thriving, right? Thriving in hosting. And what we want to do is have people around and always have people over if we can, and just enjoy life together and help people, you know, whatever they're going through, whatever they're having, whatever they want to do. They just want to send the kids off and put them in the playroom, and the adults just sit over here and talk, do it. You know, like that's what you want to do, because they typically do just fine.
What do you feel like is the big motivation behind why you feel gifted or called to be so invested and involved in hospitality? Because it is a sacrifice. It is taking time. It is, and an
Money.
investment of time and money and energy. And, there's an investment factor involved in doing that. Like, why do you feel like that's been such a big part of your lives and investing in that and doing that?
I would say one, it was how I was raised. My parents always wanted to host people, have people. I'd had friends come to Thanksgiving, Christmas, anything like that, like didn't have family around or whatever was going on, right? Like just welcoming people. So I think one is how you were raised side of it. The other side of it is, I would say, built through Chick-fil-A's culture of like care, like trying to be caring to people. One of my things is like, I want to serve anybody and everybody around. I wanted them to feel like they were honored, that honor, dignity, and respect, showing that to them no matter what we're doing. And so by doing, hospitality, if it is that, and it's just a good opportunity for us to do it. And it's a gift. Honestly, it'd be one of those gifts that, they don't say that you have a hospitality of the spirit, fruit of the spirit, right? But it's one of those. It's like it happens. So.
It's
many
giftings all bundled
rolled
together.
into one,
Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I also was raised seeing this modeled,
Sure.
but I also was a recipient of it. And so living in all these places where we were far from our extended family, we had others that welcomed us in and treated us like family. Like we had surrogate grandparents and aunts and uncles in all these different places we lived. But I saw my parents do that for others. And so when we moved back from Italy, we intentionally sought out inviting people to spend holidays with us who didn't have family nearby. And I remember bringing friends home from college, or even once we were married, like we introduced a lot of our other couple friends to our families and spent time together. But I think
y'all never met her parents, right?
I was thinking, that's not like
Bill
you
and
all.
Lisa,
Like,
never heard of them.
Never heard of.
So I had the benefit of feeling like family in other people's homes.
Yeah.
And that's something I want others to feel. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's, to me, that's a sign that we're doing hospitality well, and we're fulfilling a calling that God's placed on our marriage when people feel like they are family when they're here with us. And so sometimes that means, like, when someone feels so at home that they go and get their own drink, I'm like, oh, that makes me happy. Or Josh is like, why didn't you get a drink for them? I'm like, that to me says that they feel comfortable.
But anytime you two want to come get a drink, you can come get a drink.
I
in
do.
You know where they are.
So
I love your
when
refrigerator.
you guys are over, and I'm like, they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
They know they can get what they need. They know where things are. That means they feel like family. They feel at home here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's fair.
it means
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. We definitely feel that. And like I said, spoiled.
But if you're here
like,
and I have to give you drink, I'm going to give you a beverage, whatever it is,
Right.
whatever it is. I'm going to make sure you get it.
yeah.
true.
And you'll give us like 10 options. Like, so,
Yes, yes. Lots of flavored seltzer waters, honestly.
Yeah.
Where we like to love.
Oh,
I
yes.
like it. So
Yeah, where he puts a lot of thought into what various people want and need and what their preferences are and their food allergies and
yeah.
getting options. And yeah, I'm like, I don't think that's like, I don't want to. One of the questions is like, what advice will we give to people
Uh-huh.
who are like, maybe I don't have the means to have all of these options for people, or the space. Like when we lived in Trilla, it drove us nuts when we'd have people over and they'd like stand behind the sofa like they had nowhere to sit. And it's like, it's not about the space.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about what you offer them. It's not about whether you have the money to host or not. It's about the environment. The way you make
Exactly.
people feel is what hospitality really comes down to.
Yeah.
Is, are you welcoming them? Are you
Yeah.
inviting them in as they are? Are you getting to know them? Are you letting them get to know you and sharing of yourself with someone? It's a selfless thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So there's many ways to do it. And when you find the way that's authentic to you, that's what's best.
yeah, authentic is probably the key word. And I think, Jesus was the most selfless person in the world, right? Ever.
Yeah.
It's one of those of like, hey, if I could just serve like him and just honor people the way we can and just honor that, people will see it, and that's the goal. Is like, we want people to see Jesus through us. How do we do that? We do it by serving hospitality, right? We also do it by serving in church too. But
Yes.
there's
And
a lot of different.
So it's all the same. It's the heart behind all of it is the same.
Yeah.
Whether we're doing it at
Right.
work or at home or at church or anywhere, it's the same.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And some things, I know we're probably off track, but we even open our door for people to live with us if they need to in season. So my cousin lived with us 2 different stints while she was in
a total of like
RA school.
4 months or something.
Wow.
Yeah, like doing so, and lived with us there, and we've had
My brother
Hudson and Sarah. Yep, Hudson and Sarah live with us. They lived with us for 4 months, and we just it's like we want to open the door and have that opportunity if people need it. That if there's seasons of things that need to happen or whatever it is, we want to be able to open the door that way too. And so we don't talk a lot about that because it doesn't happen often now with kids. People don't really want to be around kids all the time like that. When you have little kids, no, I don't want to stay there. Okay,
Well,
you
now
can.
might be a
It's
good
open.
time to say we're actually planning on moving in with
Hey,
you guys for a
you're
little
welcome.
bit.
I can convert a room for
heads up.
you. It's completely fine. We'll leave the kids all down here in the playroom every day.
They
They'll be
would
fine.
love it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think too, when you're willing to open your home and your life to someone else, it in many ways you then win the right to be heard. So you win the opportunity to speak into their life and have them speak into your life.
Yeah.
And and you care for someone's physical needs, that oftentimes will lead to more and being able to care for them and their emotional or spiritual needs as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how do you find balance within that? Because that, like we were saying earlier, that is an investment that is going to be draining. That is going to,
Absolutely.
take a toll mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all these things. How do you find balance in like constantly kind of giving of yourselves and serving people, but still having time to kind of step away and be refreshed and be refilled yourselves? I mean, Josh, you're talking about like Jesus being the perfect example of that. I mean, even he did that, where he took time where he's like, I got to step away from the crowds, the followers, and just like take time to be refreshed, to be, refilled and things like that. How do you guys find that balance for you and all the serving and hospitality that you guys do?
Mm-hmm.
There's seasons again of that, seasons of ebb and flow. So personality type wise, Litia thrives in being with people. So she doesn't need that re-energizing as much.
Mm-hmm.
I've converted her a little bit and as she's gotten older. However, me on the other side of it, I can go, I can do, but I need time to rest and recoup. And so it is exhausting sometimes, like overall I'm like, whatever, like I can handle it and be fine. And we're used to each other in that sense of like, she just wants to keep going and talking. When people come, it's like she has caffeine, but she doesn't.
Yep.
She just can go and just go and go and go and go and go.
I do feel caffeinated right now.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And me, I'm going to go sleep right after this.
Ditto.
Kind of late. However, that's right. Justin
Litia, you want to meet up after this?
Yeah, you two can go.
Let's go for a walk. We'll meet in the middle. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's hard, and we've talked about it honestly. So a little backstory: we bought a camper. Y'all do know this. Y'all came down this on, but we bought a camper, and our learning. We've gone on a few trips now, and we're still trying to figure out like, hey, how do we invite people down, but also how do we have the time with our kids and just to be focused in. And so it's a hard balance, to be honest. Like it's one of those of like, man, we love people to come and want them to be with us. Although we want to.
Then we wore ourselves out.
It's
that was our biggest learning.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, hosting on a camper also is different than at home, and a lot more manual work, the dishwasher.
Yeah.
And so we were so excited. We wanted to host all of our special people to like come and be in this magical space with us. And they're like, okay, learning. We can't invite different people every single day of our camper trip. We need to like pace ourselves so we don't burn ourselves out.
Right.
And but I think, one of the things I've really had to learn over the course of our marriage is related to our differences around how we recharge and energize. And so I've had to become really intentional to say, okay, if we're gonna host and we're gonna be fulfilled by it, that I have to plan in the week the time that we're not doing anything.
Not plan.
So I have to
not plan stuff.
I have to plan
full.
To not have plans.
That's right.
Yes. Got it.
Right? So like I'm like, okay, here's when we're gonna do something, here's when we're gonna do so and so with it. Here's when we're not gonna have anything going on and we can just be. And we can be at home. And I found that then like we both enjoy the downtime and the people time so much more when we have that balance.
So
and like I enjoy the downtime more when we can have it in doses than like a whole weekend just chilling at home. I used to get like antsy.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I can't just wear him out by being with people all weekend long.
Right.
So
right.
we have to really find a good
No,
balance.
she can wear me out by doing that, but
yes.
she's learning.
No, the struggle is real.
Right. And Josh,
we have Father's Day weekend coming, right? So it's like one of those like, oh, it's packed and we got people coming and we're going to do things, kind of things like it. I'm like, oh, it's okay. There's no resty for Father's Day.
Verify this or not, but I feel like this year, I feel like I'm doing the best I've ever done at like pacing ourselves. And I feel like I've been extra intentional with it, but that's 10 years into marriage.
Right.
Like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or still at just the start.
Yeah.
And so it's, I think learning has been us, each other. Hey, I know you need to go. Let's go do. And I kind of abide by that. But then I also am like, hey, I got to stop paying attention to that. And this year's just been weird in general, just because of, the Achilles injury. I couldn't do anything for 10 straight weeks.
But to be the recipients of more hospitality.
That's right. Yeah. And so it was a different experience. Like I can't handle I don't think the word control, because it's not about control. It's more about like, I just don't like relying on a lot of people because I can do most and help most. You know, like
Yes, you can.
in those seasons, I was not able to do most.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't do what I want to do. And I'm like, this is boring.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing was like that you guys were still doing stuff. Like you
So
were
much
still
stuff.
trying to be intentional about that. Like Josh, you would be on your little scooter on one leg and still making food for people. It's like,
That is true.
so kind of back to what you
Amazing.
were saying, Litia, about like it can be easy for people to be like, come up with a million excuses of why they can't be hospitable in a season, or things like that. Like you said, there's so much of that is
It
attitude.
comes from the heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's got to come from the heart. And
Yeah.
I think another thing that can lead to burnout is when you're hosting and you're not prepared for it. That makes your stress level go up, makes us argue.
That's a great point.
That is.
And like, if we're too rushed with like making the plans and we didn't go grocery shopping, we didn't plan a meal, we didn't do the little bit of preparation needed in advance. It doesn't run as smoothly, and then that it just adds stress and it adds tension.
I mean, saying that, if you're listening, you're more than welcome to come by anytime you want to stop by.
Josh.
Literally
You're
anytime
so
you want to
sweet.
stop by. You'll just know that we're going to be a little stressed.
Right. Right.
We won't show it like that. We
Call
won't
ahead,
click on
people.
what we
Call
do.
ahead.
That's right.
I
Like
meant,
10 minutes. Give us 10.
If like 4 couples show up together,
Right.
even then we roll with it.
Yeah. No, you really do. We've been there like last minute, and you guys just roll it out, and all of a sudden there's a cheese platter, and all of a sudden there's 10 drink options, and it's amazing.
I think our parents are our secret weapons sometimes, because a lot of times our parents are here and around, and they come alongside us and they help. Both sets of parents, they help make food, they help host people too, they help clean up. Like, they're incredible when we have them there.
That's super helpful. Nice. Yeah, so we kind of talked about this a little bit, but speaking to people that maybe either haven't had as much experience in hospitality or wouldn't label themselves as passionate or as like wanting to be hospitable, what would be
or that they are passionate, like they are interested, they do want to do it, but they don't know where to start.
They don't know where to start. Yeah, what would be your advice to them? How would you help them in their journey to get to where you guys are in thriving?
All right. So mine is, it's pretty short and straight. Honestly, it's just do it. Do what you can. And it's so simple to say. It's actually that simple to do. It really is. It's just start. Just do something.
Yeah.
Because if you just are too scared, or like, oh, I have this earning, I want to do this. I want to do this and I want to make it happen. I just don't know how. I'm too afraid to jump and take that step. It's just do something. Just take one step, because that's the easiest part of it. Is once you take that step, you're like, oh, I can do this. Because once you learn and you go, you're gonna fail. There's gonna be failures in the learning of everything, right? Like hosting, we always have like, oh man, that didn't go well, but it's okay. Like and hosting it, say, talk about the camper, like we've had a lot of learnings in that of like, oh, that didn't go well, but it's okay. We're gonna learn from it and make it better next time, or maybe not. You never know. Like but it is what it is, right? Like, but it's just that simple step of just take a step. Because if you take a step, then you never know what can come next, and if it opens doors, other things that happen along the way. So
that's so good.
And and then I would say, add to that, like, take that first step. Start small. It might one person over for coffee or tea. There you give them
that's great.
2 options: coffee or tea. But like, start small, start simple.
Yeah.
But do it routinely so that it starts to become a habit.
That's good.
Then you get practice with it. It's like anything. You need practice to get good at it. The more you do it, the more you start to think through, like, oh, I guess I should have this, or I should do that, or oh, so-and-so might like this, or or like, actually, let's go for a walk. Like, that could be hospitable too, or be outside together. So little things like that.
Yeah. And I think,
And let God lead you.
Mhm,
I think too, like pray about it
mhm.
and trust the promptings of the Holy Spirit. You got to actually be in a posture to listen and not miss them.
Mm.
But you might feel that tug of like, I feel like I should invite this person to dinner or invite them over. And you might be like, I really don't want to, but gosh, I really feel like I should. Well, like, that's probably the Holy Spirit prompting you to do it and lean into that.
Yeah.
If it's horrible, you don't necessarily have to do it again with
Right.
that same person, but yeah, you never know what it'll lead to.
Right. Yeah. I sent you that video, Litia, for our husbands that says like, I don't want to go. I made this plan 2 weeks ago. And then
It's a video on TikTok of a guy singing.
like that he doesn't want to do something. And
Squeal.
then it says like, but I'm gonna do it.
And then he goes like screamo. Anyway.
Yeah. It cracks me up because I just love it. And he's like, and I actually loved it. And it just is like, that's how I feel like sometimes it is, right? Like you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, there's all these what ifs, all these fears, all these like emotions. What about they don't like me? That's my favorite thing is, you know, you come afterwards and it's like you just went on a first date and you're like, they don't like me. I'm weird. Like all these fears.
Right.
And it's like, no, they probably are going home thinking the same thing, or, you know, or they're like, wow, that person was so cool. You know, you never know, or it didn't work out and
that's okay.
You move on. Like,
That's okay.
So yeah, I think that
that's something I don't stress about. That's just like, if they don't like me, I don't care. Don't come back.
Same.
You know,
right.
like it's not that I am who I am, right?
That's
and
right.
Litia is who she is. And so if you don't like how we come across, if you don't like how we serve and how we treat people, hopefully we treat them well, right? Like our goal is to treat
Absolutely.
everybody with honor, dignity, and respect. But
Yeah.
if that's not your game, okay then.
That's right.
Have fun. Thanks for coming. I'm glad you came. If you want to come back, you're more than welcome to. It's always open.
Yeah.
However,
Right.
you said is like,
Yeah.
they might not like me. I don't care. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to go down that road.
Grandpa Bobby Jones would be proud.
That's exactly right.
Okay, I feel like I just had an epiphany here because
Oh
no.
boy.
Lay it on
I
us.
think the advice we just gave about how to start with hospitality, I think can be applied to many different aspects of life, but specifically, I think it could be the same steps you use to start building community.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And like, how powerful is hospitality as to open a door for genuine community with someone?
Yeah.
And again, that getting to a place of genuine community doesn't happen after one coffee date.
That's right.
Yeah.
It happens over
Over
repeated time,
Yeah.
and again of getting to know each other deeper and deeper and becoming a part of each other's lives.
That's right.
And so, yeah, I think that is a great way to find community.
I
I would
totally
say
agree.
people's,
And
yeah.
that truly is a muscle. Like, and I think as an extrovert, we do have a little bit of a upper hand on like maybe
You do, yeah.
being more outgoing.
Yeah, at least the initial
Right.
Unless
Like,
we
putting
scare
yourself
people
out
away.
there engagement.
Yeah. Like I try to meet people at Chick-fil-A because you're in like that playroom and your kids are being crazy and you're apologizing or you're like whatever, you know. So I feel like I meet a lot of moms back there. My goal is to try to get like this sounds so weird. I try to get 2 phone numbers a month.
She tries to
And-
pick up them numbers, pick up them digits.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
How many
But
people are you
like
picking
out
up?
of the 20, 30 people I've met like that, I have like 4 or 5 really good friends that I have literally met at a Chick-fil-A or at a park. One of my favorite stories, I met
love
someone during 2020. I didn't see her face because of masks for three hangouts. Like we hung out 3 times before I saw her face. And now like we text daily, like we are very, very close 3
That's
years
cool.
later. And it's
Same.
like, I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't been used to having that kind of community in my life or putting myself out there or getting rejected. Actually, no one's ever not given me their number when I've asked. No one. I mean,
What?
funny.
I know.
I think
That's pretty cool.
Aren't we fans?
They might have given me a
Steph.
fake number.
Sure.
Steph, my mind goes to Good Will Hunting and how do you like them apples every time? I don't know why with the
How do
numbers.
you like
yeah,
them
you got the
apples?
numbers. It's how do you like them apples? Yes, that's a good one.
No,
You like apples, huh?
I think it's so
Anyway.
true though. But like community is so special when you find it, and
Yeah.
it's so like priceless. There's not like you can't put any kind of value on.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge part, just personally for us and our story has been a huge part of thriving and intentionally
Mhm.
thriving. And so I think like Litia, you talking about that and like drawing the parallel between hospitality and community and the, like you said, I think they're very closely interwoven. I think that's a very accurate epiphany that you have had on that front. But I think that segues perfectly into the last question, which is like, for you guys, what does it mean to intentionally thrive in your life? What does that mean to you? What does that look like?
In the area of hospitality and community, because we're kind of now talking about them almost as one, but this may sound weird and maybe not everybody does this, but I do feel like we have to have some limits and we have to think about what is the value of focus in this space too. So we could just keep going and doing hospitality with more and more and more and more new people and going really, really wide.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about focus and being able to go deep with people. And so I think we have to be intentional to establish like almost like a core. Like, okay, we're like, these are the people right now that God's put in our life that we are called to invest in. And we're going to try and kind of keep it a certain size so that we can go deep. Never would we want to say no to somebody who wants to come in, but we may not be actively trying to like find a lot of more people to bring in because we don't have the bandwidth necessarily. And we don't want to just go an inch deep with everybody, but we want to be able to go really deep in relationship. And so, I'm like, it's not to like exclude people, but it's to have more meaning in our connections with some, to truly be known, to know and to be known. I think is a big part of that. And then I also think it goes back to kind of this like pacing ourselves or what we were talking about, extrovert and introvert. I think for me, a journey I've been on for a long time, but especially the past year really is this idea of creating focus for myself. And if like what I want to do is I want to spend my time in the things that matter most to me. So how do I create for myself an opportunity to do that? And it takes focus. And so I've really looked at every area of my life and determined like what's important to me to be healthy and to be thriving in life. What are my goals spiritually? What are my goals physically? What are my goals in relationships? What are my goals at work, in leadership, and these different areas? And I try and align like the activities that I do and manage my time all to give me more time in those areas. And so a lot of the goals are supporting like one big vision. So a fitness goals, not because I want to spend all my time exercising, but more so because I want to be the best. I want to be the best me, and I want to be healthy, or I feel good and have energy, so that I'm there for the things that do matter most. So with that has come trying to establish some like regular routines and habits and a bit more discipline for myself. That I've been trying to like exercise the past several months. It's been a long journey, really, since having Harvey, our second. So 2 years now, and when I was like, okay, I really want to take more control over my time, my body, my like emotions. Like I want to be really healthy so that, I'm mentally, I'm physically here, present for what matters most in my life, and invest in those areas. So I try and follow as best I can these like daily disciplines to help me get there.
And she's done a really good job of it too.
That's
Just to say that, like call it out, like she's done a really good job of focusing and doing and intentional time trying to get there. You know, we're not going to be perfect. We're never going to be perfect. And those things of like oh, you know what? I missed a day. I missed a week, whatever it is, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I can get back into it. It's fine. As long as you get at that habit and you know where you want to go.
Keep going.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's right. So I would do the TED Talk style. So I would say, you got to know your why.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can do a whole 18-minute conversation of why do you need to know your why? And how do you start your I'm not going to go.
Yeah, sure.
And then something I like to steal, and I love this saying. So from Chick-fil-A, it's actually from the Catholic family. They talk about knowing your master. So know who your master is, know your mission in life. What is your mission in life? And then know who your mate is. Well, I know my mate. So I'm very blessed. I know who my master is, right? God is my master. Jesus, we follow, we serve. And then what my mission is to serve others and to let them be known and let them be honored.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can focus in on those master, mission, mate, and knowing your why of like, why do you do this? Why do you want to do this? I think that's how in your joy, that's how you find joy, right? Like people are always searching for that joy. Hey, where's my joy? I need joy. I need joy. I'm not happy. I think you're searching in the wrong places, number one, right? Like we talk about that. We hear a lot of sermons on this, right? Like it talks about it, but like search, if you know your master, if you're following your master, if you're listening to him, understanding him, if you know your mission of mine personally, like to serve, I want to serve and honor people. And then the last one is know your mate. You're gonna do things right. And then, the why is, hey, why do you do this? Why do we do this? Why do we host? And thanks for honoring, asking us to talk about it. It's like, it's just an important thing to keep us thriving and keep us going. And honestly, when you're in the role, and so you can even talk about work side of it, like if you're doing the thing you love the most, you're not really working, right? And so when we host people, it's not really work. Yeah, it's exhausting. However, it's not work. Like we just love it. It's like, yeah, we'll do it, whatever, it's fine. It's not like we don't really argue about people coming over. We don't have that. We're like, oh yeah, let's have them. It's like, we argue about the menu. We argue about the process, but we don't argue about people coming over, right? So that's right. Like that's the thing. Yeah, that's right. Like, it's not one of those things of like,
if you're going to do it, it's how
we thrive in it.
Yeah.
It's an easy thing for us, and it's just a mindset.
Yeah, we say yes.
Yeah.
And then we figure it out.
Yeah. You do.
Sometimes that means we do the dishes the next day.
Shame on
Or the
us.
day after that.
Don't come to my kitchen.
I think that's the one thing I've been able to serve you guys. Like one time I was doing the dishes because Josh couldn't get off
You've
the
done it
couch.
twice.
Oh, okay, fine, whatever.
Hey.
And I'm like doing it, trying to be sneaky because Litia's putting the kids to bed and Josh is like literally cannot get up. And all of a sudden I hear Josh go, "Stephanie, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing." Like, let me serve you once, please. Like, stay on your butt for 2 seconds, Josh. Like,
I came downstairs, saw it, and was like,
oh.
She's like, "What? Who did the dishes? Did you do the dishes?" And I was like, "Stephanie."
And that's how I feel constantly. So I just am so thankful for you guys. And this has been an amazing conversation.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for taking the time and for being you.
I think everybody watching this is going to be like, man, how do we get ourselves some Joneses in our lives?
I know.
Because
you got to be intentional. You got to have coffee or tea.
Or you could be the Joneses in someone else's life.
Exactly. You can be the Joneses in someone else's life. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly
you can
right.
teach
start with the
courses.
Joneses.
That's right. Take the step.
Be the
Do what you
Joneses.
can
That's
do.
now the slogan.
We do have it.
It's not keeping up with the Joneses. Just serve like the Joneses.
Oh, it's
There
yes.
you go.
Yeah.
We'll
Serve
get-
like Jesus.
We'll get buttons.
That's
There
right.
you go.
Sure. That's
Okay.
it.
What would
If
the
you wanted to
Joneses
follow
do?
that model, that's so good.
No.
That's oh boy. We're going down the road.
WWJD. No,
Yeah.
let's-
That's it. That's
Too
it.
far.
We're in the band
All
again.
right.
No.
Well, okay, speaking of dishes, it made me think of one other thing. Is a tip is that we have to be comfortable with like people seeing our real life, like our house as is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more comfortable with that than Josh probably is.
100%.
But like, I'm like, you know what? This is real life. And hopefully if I let them in and my kitchen's kind of a mess, but like, I'm still comfortable to let them be here and see that reality.
Yeah.
Like, oftentimes I feel like that puts people at ease too.
Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Not everyone. There was one person who I will not name who was uncomfortable and like, but for the most part, I'm like, this this is real life today,
Awesome.
and I'm comfortable with you. So, like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Here we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Don't worry too much about trying to have your house perfect in order to have people over. Just embrace real life.
Yeah.
And,
So true.
Love it.